Raghunath Das Goswami, and we are embarking on verse number 9. The translation goes, O mind, meditate on Krishna, the moon of the Vrindavan forest, as the Lord of my leader, Sri Radhika. Meditate on Sri Radhika as his most dear object of love. Meditate on Sri Lalita as her incomparable friend. Meditate on Sri Visakha as the foremost guru distributing the teachings of love. And meditate on Radhakund and Govardhan as givers of the sight and love of Sri Sri Radha Krishna. So there is a beautiful picture where Radhika is offering flowers to Krishna, the moon of the Vrindavan forest. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur's Bhajan Darpan commentary. In this verse, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami guides the practitioner, sadhaka, on what the mutual relationship should be between spontaneous devotional service, raganuga bhajan, and amorous transcendental love of God, madhurya ras. Vraj Vipina Chandram. Meditate on Sri Krishna, the glowing moon of the forest of Braj, Vrindavan. The following verses from Srila Rupa Goswami, Mukunda Malatuli, Mukunda Muktavali Stav, in his Stavmala, exemplify these instructions. His complexion is like a new monsoon cloud. His ears are effulgent like champaka flowers. The smile on his face is like blooming lotus in a lake. His effulgence is like the color of the gold. His head is decorated with a host of peacock feathers. Truly, I offer my obeisances to that young cowherd Krishna, who is the essence of everything in the world. His face defeats the excellence of the autumn moon. He is great ocean of joy of sporting pastimes. He holds a ball in his hands. He is the gopi's life support. His body is covered in the dust raised by cows' hooves. His flute is tucked in the belt around his waist. He captivates the cows with his voice. May he, who is the son of Nanda, protect me. Srila Rupa Goswami prays to Krishna in this mood in the following two verses from the supplementary sections of the Tribhangi Panchakam in Stavamala. The next page is a beautiful picture of Radha and Krishna. Sri Radhika is Krishna's most dear object of love. Krishna is putting some flowers in the hair of Srimati Radharani. So those two verses, the translation. The Lord of the distress, whether you inflict on me a strong punishment or your mercy, I have no other shelter but you. Indeed, the Chatak bird glorifies the cloud, whether the cloud punishes it with a strong thunderbolt or mercifully showers rainfall on it. O killer of Aga, when I hear about how great souls in the past perform unparalleled devotional service, even in the most unfavorable conditions, the heart of a devotionally wide person like me burns in disappointment. Then again, when I hear of your omnipresent mercy on all living entities, my burning heart experiences a cooling sensation due to being moistened by a drop of hopes. Vraj Vaneshwarim Tan Natatpe. Meditate on Srimati Radhika as one's dearest queen of Braj. Srila Rupa Das Raghunath Das Goswami, in his Vilap Kushumanjali, clearly acknowledges Srimati Radharani as his Swamini, female master. With intensity and great care, he prays with one-pointed devotion in order to attain Srimati Radharani's service. Haribol. O Swamini Radhika, I, a certain maidservant belonging to you, cry here every moment in deep love. I am expressing my feeling in the form of poetry as my heart burns with the excessive and constant fire of separation from you. Second verse. O Devi Radhika, this maidservant of yours has fallen immensely into the depths of various oceans of distresses. Through the amazing boat of your strong mercy, kindly rescue this servant and make her attain the liberating shore of your lotus feet. So here is the pictures. O Devi Radhika, this servant of yours has fallen into the depth of various oceans of distresses. Through the amazing boat of your strong mercy, kindly rescue this servant and make her attain the liberating soul of your lotus feet. So the picture is showing Srimati Radharani is looking and the devotee is trying to touch the lotus feet of the saintly persons who is sitting as a captain of the boat. Then glorification of Lalita. I think we will do tomorrow. Lalita and Visakha Devi tomorrow. So we will now dwell in the life of Srila Prabhupada. We are on volume number 4, chapter number 9. In every town and village is the title. I will read the last paragraph that we read yesterday to bring up to the speed, and then we will continue. When Srila Prabhupada had heard that Brahmananda Swami had actually arrived in Bombay, he had asked to see him at once, like a father recovering his lost child. Prabhupada had embraced him, quote, "You risk your life just on my order," unquote, Prabhupada has said. After some days, Prabhupada had told Brahmananda Swami, quote, "You should go to Africa. And if you go, then we will be on all the continents." That's where we left. So we continue now. Now, after preaching in Africa, Brahmananda Swami eagerly awaited the visit of his beloved spiritual master. Nairobi, September 9, 1971. As Srila Prabhupada disembarked in Nairobi from the East African Airline 747 jet, he wore a wool chadar over his shoulders and carried the same white vinyl attache case he had taken with him all over the world. Flanked by his secretary and servant, he walked with his cane across the airfield toward the terminal building. Inside, he sat on a cloth-covered chair and joined in the kirtan, while Indians and Africans gathered around to watch. Kulbhushan, a journalist and friend of Brahmananda Swami's, approached Prabhupada with questions. He asked Prabhupada what he had come to teach, and Prabhupada answered, quote, modern civilized man has forgotten his relationship with Krishna or God and is therefore suffering. Whether you are Hindu, Muslim, or Buddhist, that doesn't matter. Unless you re-establish your relationship with the God, you cannot be happy. And we can all attest to this. Lot of suffering, When the devotee doesn't suffer, they feel happy. But just think about what we have gone through in this life. Have you come only for Hindus? Asked Mr. Bhushan. No, Prabhupada replied, for everyone. So Mr. Bhushan, East Africa, especially Kenya, is one of those countries which enjoy a great amount of racial harmony in brotherhood of man. What is your special message you can bring to Kenya? Srila Prabhupada. That brotherhood of man can be complete when they are in God consciousness. Otherwise, it will again break. Mr. Bhushan. So your disciple will be making special effort to reach the African rather than confine themselves to the Hindus. That is very important here in this country. Srila Prabhupada responded, our method is the same, but the method is so powerful that it appeals to everyone. We do not have to convey a new method for a new place. The method is the same, universal. It will appeal to everyone. After spending one night in Nairobi, Prabhupada and his party flew the next day in a small propeller aircraft to Mombasa. Mr. Pandya was away and his family, although not very enthusiastic, opened their home to Srila Prabhupada. The large house was of contemporary design with rounded corners, porthole windows, and a spacious living room with a veranda facing the ocean. Prabhupada, standing by the window in his room, beheld an aquamarine sea, a cloudless blue sky, and a white sandy beach fringed with palms. Turning back toward Brahmananda Swami and the others, he said, quote, Brahmananda told me that this was one of the most beautiful places in the world. Now I see he is correct. Unquote. Prabhupada had come with a chronic cough but walking on the beach and relaxing in the Mombasa sunshine, he soon recovered his health. Prabhupada maintained his program, begun in London, of daily dialogues with Shyam Sundar concerning the Western philosophers. Chronologically, he had proceeded from Socrates to Descartes. Shyam Sundar. Quote, he is saying, I think, therefore I am. First of all, he has discovered that I am. This was his innate basis for truth. In his time, there was no real authority. Unquote. Prabhupada responded as follows. But this is not big knowledge. Long, long ago, there were many who could understand I am. This is called Atmanam Manyate Jagat. A fool thinks of others are fools. He is not the first man to realize the identification of the self. Krishna says, Aham, Aham evasam evagre. I existed in the beginning, and when everything is finished, I shall continue to exist. This we also say, I existed before this body was created, and I shall exist when the body is annihilated. These conceptions of I is there in God. It is in me. Then where is the new thing? As soon as he felt better, he was ready to preach. Mombasa, he said, was a small place, and Nairobi, the capital, would be better for preaching. So he returned to Nairobi. Nairobi, September 18, 1971. In Nairobi, Srila Prabhupada demonstrated how a sannyasi should preach. For 1 month, he strictly followed Vedic tradition by staying only 3 days or less in the home of each of his Indian hosts. Then, although his host always provided him good food and comfortable accommodations, he would move on to the next place. This was the rule for sannyasi. Prabhupada said it kept them from becoming attached to bodily comfort and from inconveniencing their host. You know, when I read this, I remember that when we visited in 1998 with my Guru Maharaj, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, to Fiji, I heard before that for many, many years, Tamal Krishna Maharaj used to stay with the temple president, Jagannath Prabhu. So when I see when they received us at the airport, how much love and affection those devotees exhibited, melted my heart. So I just who I am, but I suggested to my Guru Maharaj that Gurudev, you have come after many, many years, because he was still going through the academic arena. So it would be so nice, Gurudev, that if you can spend one night with each of our godbrother and sisters home. And he really liked the idea. He said, yes, we should plan like that. So we were living every day in different house in Fiji. And I can remember, you know how we get the training when you show these persons that first he said, you have to make sure that my room gets set up nicely. So I have to make sure with the host. So first day, The host asked me which way Guru they would like to have a bed. So normally we say that, in the middle you put and both side end table or something like that. So we put this furniture like that, and as soon as Tamal Krishna Maharaj entered in the room, he said, "What is this? You should put the bed in the corner. So there is a lot of room in the rest of this, in the bedroom. I can walk around and do whatever. Why you stick the bed in the center?" So, and then I remember, as it says that even though they have to take so much inconvenience. So when I read this, I remember that it was a summer, and also there were some mosquitoes. And some of the homes in Fiji, the devotees' home, doesn't have a screen. They don't have a AC, and they don't have a screen on the window. But because the one thing that Tamal Krishna Maharaj shared with me, that I don't like the surprise, he said. If I know how I have to live, no problem. You can tell me to sleep on the floor. This is what the arrangement would be. He said, no problem. So he accepted that he will spend a night at different devotees' home. So he understands. So he never ever complained that, look at this, you didn't put even the screen on the window or anything, because we were so busy throughout the day with him. In the breakfast, 70, 80 devotees will come at somebody's house who has hosted the last night. And we will go for the lunch at other devotee home where another 70, 80 devotees will come. And then wherever we are going to stay next night, we go there and have a darshan program in the evening before we take rest. So it was so happy. And so many details we have to cover. But he never complained a single word. That was amazing. So this is required inconvenience in devotional practice. For Srila Prabhupada to practice these rudimentary lessons of sannyas was, of course, unnecessary. For he was a Paramhansa, a sannyasi in the highest order of Krishna consciousness. They don't have to go through. His body, mind, and words being totally engaged in Krishna's transcendental service. He was automatically detached from material comforts. And when it comes to the material comfort, I can remember that now we have a wonderful sannyasi house where we host the sannyasis and the guest house. But when earlier days, in early 90s, we don't have that, good facility. And I can remember that he was sleeping in the two-pound bed, like from the IKEA we got it. So at night we fold it, so it become a bed. And during the daytime, he will use as a sofa. And always tears come in my eyes that I was not able to provide the comfort. But they don't, they are detached from it. They never complain. Nevertheless, he followed the Vedic system just to instruct his disciple by his example. He was following the system of Madhukari, named for the bee, which takes only a little pollen from a flower and then goes on to the next. This system of brief visits also enabled Prabhupada to involve more families in Krishna consciousness and to honor the abundance of invitations. This still the Fijian devotees remember me that I make that arrangement. Hare Krishna. Wherever Prabhupada went, he was undisruptibly the Guru, the venerable sadhu. Yet he would deal intimately with his host, developing friendship and behaving practically like an elder member of the family. His host would offer him the best room in their home, usually their own bedroom, and the lady of the house, along with her assistants, would cook elaborate meals. Prabhupada's natural Krishna conscious bearing was commanding, and his behavior was always aristocratic. Yet his hosts were charmed by his humility. Quickly he was becoming the friend and Vaishnava Guru of many families in Nairobi. Prabhupada's behavior in Nairobi was instructive for the new Western disciple when accompanied him. On one occasion, a Mr. Devji Dhamji invited Prabhupada to bless the temple room in his home. Prabhupada entered and Mr. Dhamji offered him a deer skin to sit on. Quote, "We do not sit on deer skin," unquote, Prabhupada said. Quote, "It is pure, but our Vaishnava don't wear them or sit on them. That is for the yogis." Haribol. So Bhavananda is expressing in his own word as follows. Mr. Dhamji invited Prabhupada to sit on a sofa which had been covered by a clean white cloth. Prabhupada sat down and they bathed his feet. This was the first time I ever saw anyone bathe Prabhupada's feet. This is so nice to see this behavior perfect. Yesterday with Param Karuna Prabhu, we studied the Bhagavatam and we were reading about Nand Maharaj, that the servant of the Varuna Dev captured him because he was taking bath on the next day of Ekadasi, earlier time, but he doesn't know the Bhagavad doesn't have to follow this rule. But they captured him. So when they took him to the Varuna Dev's abode, Varuna Dev received him so nicely, performed his arti, giving a very nice throne to sit. And it says that he was always thinking that Nanda Baba has came, so Krishna will come. These demigod never even get a chance to see Krishna. So when Varun Dev received that, Krishna personally came, he worshipped him also and offered little, only 4 verses of prayers, because it says that he was so much concerned that not, if we are there, we will take all the time to spend the time with Krishna, right? But Varun Dev didn't do that. He understood that Nand Baba has to break fast and do other things on the Dwadasi day. So he just spoke 4 verses to glorify Krishna and then let them go. So nice, to see like that. And Varuna understood that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he tried his best to serve him in a very little time. Very nice examples. So they bathed the feet with milk and then with water and rose petals. Then they put chandan on his feet, then red kumkum powder and rice powder and jasmine flowers. His toe were red from kumkum, and grains of the rice and little white jasmine flowers just stayed on his feet. And then he gave a talk. I had never noticed, this is Bhavananda who is speaking, I had never noticed the Guru's feet up until that time. That was the first time I realized that the feet of the Guru are special and they are astonishingly beautiful. Hare Krishna. We have 3 more minutes, so we can read a couple of paragraphs. Prabhupada wasn't satisfied preaching only to the Indians. He wanted to preach to the Africans. Indians and Africans were completely segregated. But since a Krishna conscious person does not make distinction based on the body, Prabhupada said the Indian had a duty to share their spiritual culture with the Africans. Prabhupada impressed on Brahmananda Swami that his first duty in Africa was to give Krishna consciousness to the Africans. Because of bad experience in Turkey and Pakistan, Brahmananda Swami had been reluctant to hold public kirtan in Nairobi. Besides, the Africans spoke mostly Swahili. They were culturally different and usually too poor to buy books. So Brahmananda Swami didn't know how to preach to them effectively. Going to the Indians had been easy and natural. But Prabhupada wanted the Africans. Quote, "It is an African country," he said simply. "They are the proprietors. We should be preaching to them." So we will stop here. And this is the mood all the sannyasis carries in ISKCON, that we should have the local participation. Otherwise, my Guru Maharaj told me that just because you have heard about Krishna, you will accept this philosophy, you will come to the temple. But do you think the second generation will come to the temple if they don't see any American in your temple or Hispanic? Because I don't know, they predict that maybe by less than 10 years or 15 years in US, the Hispanic will have the more population. So we should also try to preach to Hispanic populations. So we should stop here and see anybody has any. Before we leave, let's offer our humble obeisances at the dusk of the lotus feet of these wonderful Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Vancha kalpatarubhasya kripa sindhu bhayavacha